No one expected the humans to answer the call. In the far edges of the galaxy, there was a small star system called Virx Prime. It was home to a peaceful species known as the Vile. The Vile were not warriors, they were thinkers, builders, and traders. For centuries they lived without war, they trusted treaties, they trusted words, and that trust almost destroyed them. The attack came without warning. One moment, Virx Prime's skies were calm and blue. The next moment, they burned, massive warships tore through space like dark shadows. Their weapons spoke in fire and light. Cities vanished in seconds, defense stations were crushed before they could react. The enemy was ancient, cold, ruthless. They were known only as the Car Dominion. The Vile fleets tried to respond, but it was useless. Their ships were light, their weapons weak. They had never prepared for true war. Within days, half of their system was lost. Refugee ships filled the space lanes. Families fled with nothing but fear. Children cried as their homes disappeared behind them. The Vile Council gathered in emergency session. The Great Hall was silent. Every screen showed the same truth. Red markers, destroyed worlds, enemy fleets moving closer. "We are running out of time," one counselor said softly. Another replied, "Our allies will help us." But even as he spoke, a message appeared. Request denied, resources unavailable, conflict risk too high. One by one the messages came: refusal, silence, excuses. The great powers of the galaxy turned away. Fear spread through the council chamber. Finally, the oldest counselor stood. His voice was slow and heavy. "There is one option left." The others looked at him. No one spoke the name. Everyone already knew it. "Humans," he said. The word felt strange in the air. Humans were new to the galactic stage. They were loud, emotional, unpredictable. They had only recently left their home system. Yes, they were creative. Yes, they were adaptable. But warriors, most believed humans were too divided, too fragile, too attached to emotion. "They cannot help us," one counselor said. "They can barely protect themselves." Another added, "Asking them may show our desperation." The old counselor nodded. "We are desperate." Silence followed. Outside the chamber, another world burned. The Car Dominion was advancing faster than expected. Finally, the council agreed. A single message would be sent, not a military request, not an alliance, a plea. The message was simple: to the human union, we ask for shelter. Our people are fleeing extinction. We seek refuge, nothing more. The message was sent. Then they waited. Hours passed, then days, no response. The council feared the worst. Perhaps humans had ignored them. Perhaps humans had judged them too weak. Or perhaps humans were afraid. On the fifth day, alarms rang again. But this time it was not enemy ships. A signal had arrived from human space. The council gathered at once. The message appeared on the central display. It was short, too short. Message received, coordinates attached. That was all. No promises, no comfort, no explanation. Confusion filled the chamber. "What does this mean?" someone asked. "Are they offering us a location?" Another said, "A refugee zone, a planet." No one knew. Still, they had no choice. The coordinates were shared with the remaining Vile fleets. Refugee ships changed course. Entire populations moved toward an unknown future. As they traveled, fear grew. What if the humans had misunderstood? What if this was a trap? What if there was no shelter at all? Days later, the Vile fleets arrived. What they saw made no sense. The coordinates led not to a planet, but to empty space. A dark, silent region near a dead star. "There is nothing here," a navigator said. "Scanners show no stations, no colonies." Panic spread. Had the humans abandoned them? Then someone spoke. Contact, multiple signals. Space moved. From the darkness, shapes emerged. Massive shapes, ships unlike anything the Vile had ever seen. They were not elegant, they were not beautiful, they were powerful, thick armor. Wide hulls, hard edges. The human fleet had arrived, but these were not simple transport ships. There were command vessels, large and heavily protected. There were construction ships covered in mechanical arms and drones, and behind them darker shapes waited, ships with long, silent bodies. Weapon signatures unlike any known design. The Vile fleets froze. Fear returned stronger than before. One counselor whispered, "These are warships." A human signal came through, clear, calm. "Vile vessels, hold position." Human fleet assuming control of the zone. The tone was not hostile, but it was firm. Human ships moved into formation around the refugee fleet, protective, precise. More ships arrived, dozens, then hundreds, space filled with human presence. Construction drones deployed. Massive structures began to form in open space. Energy shields flickered to life, defense platforms locked into position. The Vile watched in silence. They had asked for shelter. Humans were building something else. A Vile commander finally spoke. "This is not a refuge," he said. "No," replied another, his voice shaking. "It is a fortress." A direct channel opened. A human appeared on the screen, not armored, not threatening, just calm. "This area will be secure," the human said. "Remain inside the perimeter." One Vile leader gathered courage. "We asked for shelter," he said. "We did not ask you to fight our war." The human paused, then answered simply. "When someone asks for shelter," he said, "you do not hide them. You stand in front of them." Before the Vile could respond, alarms sounded again. Long-range scanners detected movement. The Car Dominion fleet had changed course. They were coming straight toward the human-built zone. The council felt dread return. "We must evacuate again," someone cried, but the human commander shook his head. No, he said calmly. You stay. The screen showed new ships powering up. Sleek, fast, silent bombers. The Vial had never seen weapons like these. The human commander looked directly at the council. This, he said, is where they stop. The transmission ended. Human ships moved into attack formation. The fortress shields glowed brighter. The enemy fleet closed in. And for the first time since the war began, the Vial felt something new. Hope the enemy was coming. The Car Dominion fleet moved through space like a dark storm. Thousands of ships, cold and silent. They had destroyed worlds before. They expected another easy victory. Inside the human-built zone, the Vial waited. Refugee ships stayed close together. Families watched through small viewports. Children held their parents. Fear had not left them, but something was different now. The human fleet did not retreat. It did not scatter. It prepared. Command ships moved to the center of the formation. Construction vessels worked faster than before. Drones filled space like metal insects. Massive platforms locked into place. Energy shields layered over each other. One shield, then another, then another. The Vial scanners struggled to keep up. This level of defense, a technician whispered, I have never seen anything like it. The council watched silently. They expected panic. They saw discipline. Human crews moved with calm speed. No shouting, no chaos. Orders were short, clear. Power to Grid 7, seal Sector 3, activate forward shields. The Vial commanders did not understand. Why are they still building? One asked. The enemy will arrive within hours. The answer came without emotion. Because preparation saves lives. As the car fleet drew closer, they finally noticed the human presence. Enemy scouts slowed, formations shifted. Confusion spread through the car ranks. This was not a fleeing enemy. This was not a weak defense. This was something else. On the human command ship, a senior commander studied the display. They underestimated us, he said calmly. They always do, another replied. The first shots came suddenly. Car long-range weapons fired toward the zone. Beams of energy crossed space. The Vial screamed as the weapons approached. Then nothing happened. The beams struck the outer shield and vanished. No explosion, no damage. Just silence. The shield held. The Vial stared in shock. The car fleet paused. They fired again, stronger this time. The shields glowed brighter. Still they held. For the first time, the Car Dominion hesitated. Inside the zone, humans did not cheer. They simply continued. New structures activated. Defense cannons rotated into position. Missile platforms powered up. Bombers remained still, waiting. A Vial officer finally spoke to the human commander. Why do you wait? He asked. They are attacking you. The human answered without looking away from the screen. Because they are learning. Learning what? The Vial asked. The human replied that this will not be easy. The car fleet reorganized. Heavier ships moved forward. Weapon cores charged. They fired together. The impact shook space. Even the Vial ships felt the shock. The shields flickered. For a brief moment, fear returned. Then the shields stabilized, still standing. The car commanders grew angry. They pushed forward. That was their mistake. Now, the human commander said quietly. Human defense cannons fired. The weapons were precise, not wild, not loud. Clean lines of force struck the enemy ships. One by one, car vessels lost power. Engines failed. Weapons went dark. They were not destroyed. They were disabled. The Vial could not believe it. They could have destroyed them, one counselor said. Yes, replied another. They chose not to. The human commander explained calmly. Fear spreads faster than destruction. The car fleet panicked. They had never faced this kind of control, this kind of discipline. Some ships tried to retreat. Others charged blindly. That was when the bombers moved. They did not rush. They advanced in perfect lines. Silent, deadly, the Vial scanners struggled to track them. What are those ships? A Vial pilot asked. The answer came slowly. Bombers, the human said, but not like yours. The bombers passed through the shield openings. They crossed the battlefield with terrifying calm. Then they struck not planets, not cities, only warships. Explosions lit space. Entire car vessels vanished. The bombers did not chase. They struck specific targets, command ships, weapon carriers, the heart of the enemy fleet. Within minutes the battle changed. The car advance collapsed. Survivors fled. The rest drifted, broken and burning. Silence returned. The Vial did not cheer. They could not speak. The human fleet did not pursue. They returned to formation. The fortress remained. A human signal opened again. Threat neutralized, the voice said. This sector is secure. The Vial council sat in stunned silence. They had expected a refuge. They had received an army. One counselor finally found his voice. You saved us, he said. The human reply was simple. No, the commander said. We did our duty. What duty? Vial asked. The human paused. To protect those who cannot protect themselves. The Vial realized something terrifying. Humans were not defending them because of treaties or rewards. They were defending them because they believed it was right. News spread quickly across nearby systems, across the galaxy. Observers watched the battle recordings. They saw the shields, the discipline, the bombers. They saw the humans stand between the Car Dominion and their prey. And they understood. The humans were no longer a minor species. They were something else, something dangerous, something protective. Back in the fortress zone, construction continued. More platforms, more defenses. The human commander addressed the Vial leadership. This is only the beginning, he said. The car will return. Fear returned to the Vial faces. But next time, the human continued, we will be ready. The transmission ended. The Vial looked at the human ships surrounding them. They no longer felt like prisoners. They felt protected. For the first time since the war began, children slept without crying, and far away in the dark depths of space, the Cardominion planned their revenge. They did not yet understand one thing. Humans did not build shelters. They built lines that enemies could not cross. The battle was over. But the humans did not relax. Inside the fortress zone, alarms faded. Smoke and broken enemy ships drifted in silence. For the Vial, it felt unreal. For the humans, it was only a pause. Human command ships stayed active. Scanners swept space again and again. No celebration, no victory cries, only work. The Vial noticed it quickly. These humans, one Vial officer said quietly, they do not act like warriors after battle. Another replied, they act like planners. Construction ships moved closer to the refugee fleets. Massive mechanical arms unfolded. Drones poured out in thousands. They did not repair human ships first. They repaired Vial ships. Hull breaches sealed, life systems stabilized, power grids restored. The Vial were stunned. They are fixing our ships, a technician said, before their own. A human engineer answered calmly, your people need them more. On the central command platform, the Vial Council met with human commanders. The humans wore simple uniforms, no medals, no symbols of rank that the Vial could understand. Yet every human spoke with confidence. Clear, direct. A Vial counselor asked the question everyone feared. The car will return, he said, they always do. Yes, the human commander replied. When another counselor asked, the human did not hesitate. Sooner than you expect. Fear spread again. Our people cannot survive another attack, a Vial said. The human commander nodded. That is why we are not leaving. The Vial froze. You are staying? The council leader asked. For now, the human said. Construction accelerated. What the Vial thought was a temporary defense was becoming something permanent. Platforms expanded. New shield layers formed. Weapon systems buried deep inside armored structures. The builders worked without rest. Human crews rotated in shifts. Machines worked non-stop. The Vial had never seen such speed. They build like they are racing time. An observer said, they are, another replied. Human commanders studied enemy data, every weapon used by the car, every movement, every weakness. They simulated battles again and again. Each time, human losses decreased. The Vial began to realize something important. Humans did not rely on strength alone, they relied on learning. One Vial scientist watched a human planning session. They are already preparing for battles that have not happened, he whispered. Yes, replied a human officer. That is how you survive. On the third cycle, the human commander requested a full Vial population briefing. Not military data, social data, population centers, shelter needs, medical concerns, children. The Vial were confused. Why do you need this? One asked. The human answered simply, to protect you properly. The Vial realized then, humans did not separate war from people. To them, war was about people. Deep space sensors suddenly activated. Long-range signals appeared, not the car fleet, something else, observers, neutral powers, galactic empires. They had come to watch. They stayed at a distance. They did not interfere. They wanted to see what humans would do next. The humans knew they were being watched. They did not care. Instead, they sent a broadcast, not a threat, not a warning, a statement. This zone is under human protection. Any hostile entry will be treated as a threat. The message spread across the galaxy. It was calm and terrifying. A Vial counselor asked quietly, are you not afraid this will anger the car? The human commander looked at the display. We hope it does. The Vial felt a chill. Days passed, no attack came. That worried the humans more than battle. They are planning something bigger, a human strategist said. Yes, the commander replied, so are we. Human builders began a new project, something massive, buried deep in the fortress structure. The Vial were not told what it was, only that it was necessary. Human commanders increased drills, bombers practiced launch patterns, defense grids tested overload scenarios. The Vial watched in silence. One Vial officer finally asked a human soldier, why do you fight like this? The human thought for a moment. Because we learned the hard way, he said. Learned what? The Vial asked. That if we do not prepare. The human replied, someone we love will pay the price. The word stayed with the Vial. Then the warning came. A deep space probe returned destroyed. Car technology. The enemy was testing the edge of the zone. Human commanders reacted instantly. Full alert, builders moved civilians deeper into protected areas. Shields increased to maximum strength. The Vial panicked. Is the attack starting? Someone shouted. The human commander shook his head. No, he said, this is worse. The Cardominion was not coming blindly. They were studying, learning from their defeat, adapting. The humans smiled grimly. Good, the commander said, then they will understand what comes next. The Vial did not like that tone. Observers across the galaxy noticed the changes. Human structures now matched the size of small moons. Their shields were stronger than planetary defenses, and still they kept building. The Cardominion finally sent a message. It was short. Arrogant. Leave the Vial system. "This is not your war." The human reply was shorter. "It is now." Silence followed. The Vial felt fear again, but also something else. Trust. They had seen humans fight. They had seen them build. They had seen them protect children before ships. Humans were not here for glory. They were here to hold the line. The human commander gathered his officers. "The next attack will be different," he said. "They will come with everything. And us?" one officer asked. The commander looked at the fortress. "We will be ready." The Vial Council watched from their chamber. One elder spoke softly. "We asked for shelter," he said, "and they gave us an army." Another replied, "No, they gave us a future." Far away in the darkness, the Cardominion assembled its greatest fleet. They believed numbers would win. They did not yet understand. Humans did not measure strength by numbers. They measured it by how far they were willing to stand. And they were willing to stand here. The silence before the war was heavy. Across the fortress zone, every system was active. Every human ship was ready. The Vial felt it. The air inside their ships was quiet, too quiet. Children were moved deeper into protected chambers. Medical teams stood by. Outside, the stars began to disappear, not because of darkness, but because of ships. The Cardominion had arrived. This time there were no scouts, no probing attacks. This was everything. Thousands of warships filled space. Massive carriers, weapon platforms, planet breakers. They advanced without fear. They believed they had learned enough. Inside the human command ship, the displays glowed red. Enemy numbers updated constantly. "They outnumber us 5-1, a human officer said. The commander nodded. "Good," he replied. "They feel confident." The Vial Council watched the enemy fleet in horror. "This is impossible," one counselor whispered. "They will overwhelm you." Human commander did not argue. He simply said, "Stay behind the shields." The car fleet stopped at long range. Then their message came. It filled every channel. "Cold, proud humans, leave now. You do not belong here." The human response was delayed. 10 seconds, 20. Then a single sentence appeared. "We are already where we belong." The car did not wait. They fired. Space exploded into light. Energy beams, missiles, and kinetic rounds rushed toward the fortress. The Vial screamed. The shields absorbed the first wave. Then the second, then the third. The fortress shook. Power levels dropped. Some shields flickered, but they did not fall. Human engineers adjusted instantly. "Reroute power. Reinforce layer 4. Stabilize grid." The humans did not shout. They did not panic. They worked. The car fleet pushed closer. They believed the shields would break. They were wrong. "Launch defensive counterfire," the human commander ordered. Human cannons responded. This time they did not disable. They destroyed. Enemy ships vanished in controlled bursts. Precision strikes removed carriers and command vessels. Still, the car advanced. They sacrificed ships without hesitation. Numbers closed the distance. The Vial realized something terrible. The car did not care how many died. They only cared about winning. The human commander watched quietly. Then he raised his hand. "Prepare bomber wings." Deep inside the fortress, hangar doors opened. The bombers powered up. The Vial felt it before they saw it. A low vibration passed through space. "What are they doing?" a Vial officer asked. The human replied calmly, "Ending this." The bombers launched, hundreds of them, then thousands. They moved like a living storm, fast, silent, perfectly organized. The car fleet reacted too late. Bombers slipped between formations, through gaps no other ships could survive. Then they struck, not randomly. Strategically, power cores, supply ships, command centers. Entire sections of the car fleet went dark. Explosions chained across space. The Vial watched in shock. "This is not a battle," one whispered. "This is an execution." The car tried to respond. Their weapons tracked the bombers, but the bombers moved too fast. Human fighters escorted them, intercepting threats with brutal efficiency. The bombers did not stay. They struck, then vanished. Again and again, the car formation collapsed. Orders conflicted. Signals failed. Fear spread. The human commander watched the chaos. "Phase 2, he said. Hidden platforms inside the fortress activated. New weapons came online, weapons the Vial had never seen. Gravity weapons. Entire enemy formations were pulled apart. Ships crashed into each other. Others were crushed inward, disappearing in silence. The car finally understood. This was not just a defense. This was a trap. They tried to retreat. The humans allowed it, at first. Then the commander spoke. "Do not let them escape intact." The bombers returned, this time harder. They struck the fleeing ships, not all of them, just enough. A message. Minutes later, the battlefield was quiet. Broken ships drifted. Fires burned out. The Cardominion fleet was shattered. The Vial could not breathe. They had never seen power like this. The humans did not celebrate. Rescue ships deployed. Not only for Vial survivors, but for enemy survivors too. The Vial noticed. "You are saving them?" a counselor asked. "Yes," the human said. "Those who surrender." The Vial were stunned. "They tried to destroy us," the counselor said, "and they failed," the human replied. Observers across the galaxy recorded everything. The shields, the bombers, the mercy. The message was clear. Humans were not monsters. They were worse. They were disciplined. A final message arrived from the Cardominion. "Broken, fearful, we withdraw. This territory is yours." The human commander read it, then deleted it. He turned to his officers. "This war is not over," he said, "but this system is safe." The Vial Council stood in silence. One elder finally spoke. "We asked for shelter," he said. "You gave us survival." The human commander shook his head. "No," he said softly, "we gave you time." Outside, human builders already worked again. Repairing, strengthening, preparing, because humans knew one truth better than anyone else. Peace is never permanent, but protection can be, and anyone who stands behind humans will not stand alone. The war did not end with silence. It ended with rebuilding. In the days after the Great Battle, the fortress zone remained active. Human ships stayed in position. Shields remained strong. But now something had changed. The Vile were no longer hiding. They came out of their ships. They watched space through open viewports. They saw the stars again, and they saw humans. Human builders worked without pause. They repaired damaged stations. They restored power grids. They rebuilt Vile cities that had been reduced to ash. The Vile watched in quiet disbelief. These structures, one Vile engineer said, they will last generations. A human builder replied calmly, that is the point. Children returned to open halls. Medical centers overflowed with life instead of fear. For the first time since the invasion began, people smiled. The Vile Council gathered again. This time the hall was not dark. Light filled the chamber. The oldest counselor stood slowly. We must speak to the humans, he said. A request was sent. The human commander arrived in person. No guards, no weapons visible, just a human in a simple uniform. The Vile elders stood. We owe you everything, the council leader said. Our people live because of you. The human listened quietly. You asked for shelter, the Vile continued. And you gave us far more. The human commander shook his head. We gave you what was needed. The Vile leader hesitated. Why? He asked. You had no treaty with us, no gain. The human did not answer immediately. He looked at the city outside the chamber, at the children walking freely, at the rebuilt towers. Then he spoke. Because once, he said, we were the ones asking for shelter. The Vile were silent. Long before we reached the stars, the human continued, we learned what it means to be alone. We learned that no one comes to save you unless someone chooses to. The words were simple, but they carried weight. Across the galaxy, the news spread. The Car Dominion had retreated, their greatest fleet destroyed, their fear exposed. Other powers reacted quickly. Some praised the humans, some feared them, others watched carefully. Human influence expanded overnight, not through conquest, through protection. Systems near Vierx Prime sent messages, requests, not for weapons, for shelter. The humans did not accept all of them, they chose carefully. But where they went, the pattern was the same. Commanders, builders, bombers, protection first. Strength second. Weeks passed. The Vile began to rebuild their own fleets. This time with human guidance. Stronger hulls, better shields, but humans did not control them, they taught them. One Vile officer asked a human trainer, why share this knowledge? The human answered simply, so you never have to ask for shelter again. The Vile realized something important. Humans did not want followers, they wanted survivors. One day, long-range sensors detected a small signal, a damaged ship, car design. The Vile panicked. They have returned, someone cried. Human ships moved instantly. But this time they did not prepare weapons, they prepared rescue teams. The damaged ship drifted into the zone, it was barely alive. Inside were survivors, not warriors, civilians. The Vile watched in shock as human ships pulled the enemy vessel inside the shield. Medical teams boarded. They are our enemies, a Vile counselor said. They were, the human commander replied. Now they are refugees. The car survivors were treated, fed, healed. They did not understand it. They had been taught that humans were violent, unstable creatures. What they saw instead broke everything they believed. One car survivor whispered, they did not destroy us when they could. The human answered, because shelter is not a weapon. The galaxy noticed. That moment spread faster than the battle. Humans were not just strong, they were controlled. They chose when to destroy and when not to. The Vile Council held a final ceremony. Not a victory celebration. A remembrance for the dead, for the lost worlds, for the future. The human commander stood beside them. You will not stand alone again, the Vile leader said. The human nodded. For time, he said, then you will stand on your own. You are leaving? The Vile asked. Yes, the human said, our job here is almost done. Fear touched the Vile hearts, but it was softer now. You will always have our gratitude, the elder said. The human smiled faintly. Live well, he replied, that is enough. Human ships began to depart, not all at once, slowly, carefully. Some builders stayed longer, some defenses remained, not as control, as a promise. As the final human command ship prepared to leave, a Vile child stood near the viewport. She watched the massive ship move away. Will they come back? She asked. A Vile elder answered, if we ever truly need them, yes. Far away. The human fleet regrouped. The commander looked at the stars. Another officer spoke. More systems are asking for help. The commander nodded. Then we keep moving. Until when? The officer asked. The human answered quietly, until shelter is no longer rare. In the ruins of car space, fear grew. They had learned a terrible lesson. Humans did not seek war. But when war came to the helpless, humans arrived first. And they did not leave until the danger was gone. The galaxy would remember that. Forever, they asked humans for shelter. Humans sent commanders, builders, and bombers. And in doing so, they changed what shelter meant. The humans left quietly. No victory parade, no loud speeches. Their ships drifted away from Vierx Prime like dark mountains sliding through the stars. The fortress zone stayed behind, still glowing with layered shields and silent guns. For the Vile, it felt strange. The danger was gone, but the feeling of safety remained, like warmth after fire. In the rebuilt capital city, the Vile Council stood on a high platform and watched the sky. A young counselor spoke first. "They saved us," she said, "and then they left." The oldest elder replied, "That is what makes it real." In the weeks that followed, life returned. Markets opened again, schools restarted, homes were repaired. Human builders had left behind tools and clean machines, easy to use. Human engineers had stored manuals in simple language. The Vile learned quickly, not because they wanted to become humans, because they never wanted to be helpless again. Vile shipyards began to move, old designs were removed, new designs appeared, thicker hulls, stronger shields, better engines, but still the Vile did not build for conquest. They built for survival, yet peace has a strange effect. It makes people forget. Some Vile began to speak differently. The most powerful trading houses complained about the fortress zone. "It scares our neighbors," they said. "It makes us look like a war system." A few politicians nodded. "They will fear us," they argued. "Maybe they will stop trading, maybe they will isolate us." The council debated for days. One side said, "Remove the fortress, we do not want to be seen as violent." The other side said, "Keep it, we almost died." In the end, the council decided to reduce the fortress power by half. Not fully dismantle it, just lower the shields, lower the guns, a symbol of peace. The very next day, an unknown ship entered the system. It did not use normal channels, it did not request permission, it moved like it belonged there. Alarms sounded across Vierx Prime. Vile patrol ships rushed out. The unknown ship did not run, it stopped. The hull was strange, not human, not vile, not car. The Vile Council demanded identification. The answer came as a cold, flat signal. "We are the Orin Coalition. We observed the car defeat. We observed human withdrawal. Now we test the shelter you were given." The message felt like ice. The Vile leader's voice shook. "We are a protected system," he replied. "The humans," the Orin signal cut him off. "Humans are not here, only you are here." The unknown ship fired. A single shot, not at the planet. The fortress shield. The weakened shield flickered, it held but barely. The Vile understood at once. This was not an invasion, this was a predator testing a fence. Vile defenses responded, but their guns hesitated. They did not want war again, they wanted to talk, they tried diplomacy first. "Leave our system," the council transmitted. "We seek peace." The Orin reply was immediate. "Peace is not a shield. Peace is an invitation." Then more signals appeared. Not one ship now. 5, 10, 20. Orin vessels slid into the system from different angles like knives. The Vile panicked. They had ships, yes, but their crews were new, their courage was untested. They were rebuilding from ashes. This was too soon. In the capital city, people looked at the sky and remembered the burning. Parents pulled children indoors, hospitals filled. Emergency shelters opened. The council called for help, not across the galaxy. They knew no one would come. Instead, they called the only ones who had answered before. The Human Emergency Channel. A signal burst from Vierx Prime. Short, simple, honest, human union. "We did not ask for war, but war is at our door again. We need shelter." They sent it, and the council felt the same old fear. What if the humans did not return? What if the humans were too far? What if this time the message arrived too late? The orange ships moved closer to the planet. They did not bombard. They did not rush. They showed patience, predator patience. The Vile understood what it meant. The Orin were waiting for the Vile to beg, to surrender, to accept protection from a new master. The Vile Council refused, but refusal does not stop weapons. A second Orin strike hit the fortress. The shield cracked for a moment. A thin line of energy broke and then sealed again. The orange ships paused. Then they transmitted a new message. "Your human shield is weak. Your human courage is gone. Open your world or we will open it for you." On the Vile defense station, a young officer stared at the damage report. He whispered, "We lowered the shield." His commander answered, "Yes. And now we will pay for it," the young officer said. The commander did not shout. He only said, "Maybe, or maybe we learn." He gave an order. Raise the fortress back to full. Engineers tried, but the fortress was not fully theirs. Human locks were still in place. Safety systems, control keys. The humans had left the fortress behind, but not fully unlocked. The Vile could use it, but not change it, not without permission. The council realized the truth. The humans left a gift, but also a rule: do not misuse it, do not turn it into a threat. Now the Vile needed full power and they did not have it. Orange ships moved into attack formation. The first real bombardment was seconds away. Across the city, people braced for impact. Then the unknown happened. A new signal appeared on the edge of the system. A simple burst, clean, human, a single line of text. Message received. The Vile Council froze. It was the same words as before, but this time it came faster, too fast. Then the second line arrived. Hold, do not fire, do not chase, stay behind the line. The Vile leader whispered, "They are here." Scanners screamed. Space tore open. Not like a normal jump, like a controlled wound in reality. Human ships emerged, not hundreds, not thousands, only 12. The Vile felt confusion, 12 ships against 20 Orin vessels. Maybe more hidden, this seemed impossible, but the human fleet did not appear afraid. They moved calmly into position between Orin ships and the planet. A human commander's face appeared on screen. Same calm eyes, same quiet voice. You lowered the shield, he said. Not accusing, just stating a fact. The Vile leader swallowed. We thought peace would protect us, he admitted. The human commander nodded slowly. Peace is good, he said, but peace is not a wall. He looked toward the Orin fleet. Stand behind us, he told the Vile. Now you will learn the second lesson. The Orin coalition transmitted quickly. Humans, you are few, leave. This system is ours. The human commander replied with a simple sentence. No. The Orin fired. A full volley. The human ships did not dodge. They raised a shield, small, tight, focused. The volley hit. The shield held. The Orin paused, confused. Then the human commander spoke again. Builders, he said softly. 2 of the 12 ships moved forward, construction vessels. Orin ships laughed in signal bursts. Then the builders deployed something new, not platforms, not walls. A thin, bright structure formed in space. A straight line of light. It stretched across the system's approach path like a blade made of shields. The Vile stared. What is that? A Vile officer asked. A human engineer answered calmly. A line. The Orin fleet tried to cross it. The first Orin ship touched the line. It did not explode. It simply stopped. Its engines died. Its weapons shut down. The ship drifted helpless. The second Orin ship tried a different angle. Same result. The line was not a shield around the planet. It was not defense. It was control. The human commander spoke, voice still quiet. You came to test shelter, he said. Now you will learn what shelter means. The bombers launched from the remaining human ships, not many but enough. They did not attack the disabled Orin ships. They attacked the Orin command vessel in the back. One clean strike. The command vessel broke apart. The rest of the Orin fleet froze. Without command, their confidence vanished. The human commander sent one final message. Leave now or stay and be rescued after you lose. The Orin retreated, fast, silent, humiliated. The human commander looked at the Vile council. You asked for shelter again, he said. The Vile leader lowered his head. Yes, he admitted. The human commander did not shame them. He only said, then listen. Shelter is not a place. Shelter is not a wall. Shelter is a promise. He pointed to the line of light still glowing in space. When danger comes, he said, humans do not hide you behind us. He paused. We teach you where to stand. The Vile felt something change inside them, not fear, not shame, resolve. The human commander ended the transmission, but before the channel closed, he added one last sentence. And next time, he said, you will raise your shield yourself.